I welcome you all with love and blessings. I always like to start with a little prayer, which is merging the heart and mind, which is very much what's needed today. And so here we go. Shimiku Kudishabrihu Ushirate Be Imulaya Chimiki Belovke. Be it Hashem Kuzrael Kolam. Amen. So first we're going to start with a little bit of dance. And then I'm going to talk about the world has so much conflict going on, and I'm going to talk about principles of health and longevity that in the midst of all this are kind of coming out too, because we don't want to forget those deeper principles of what really makes things work. So let's start with a little bit of music and dance, and then we'll come back. So I welcome you all with love. And the world is so focused on conflict that I thought we'd do something different, which is how to be healthy, how to be happy. So that's where we're starting. And there's some real principles here. And we as I have studied people who are living into their hundreds, what are your secrets? Besides, about 30% is good genetics, okay? There's a lot that is beyond that. So one of the most important things is relationships, loving relationships, social contacts. And one society, usually the women live longer than men, but in one society, they saw that the men were living equally as long. How come? As they studied it, they saw that the men with age were still socializing. And they realized that was the only thing that was different, because generally men with age socialize less and get more isolated. We also know that men who are married live longer, in general. Even though women who are married live longer than single women, not that much more. But men who are married, there's a significant difference, like 4-year difference. And that's significant. So they began to put it together, and they saw that socialization was most important. And then they began to study the women too. And the women who had the most socialization in their societies also tended to live longer. So that was one. Two is exercise. That, and again, we are talking about societies where there are no gyms to go to. We're talking about societies where they live longer because they're working in the fields. They're, in their hundreds. In other words, they don't physically retire, but they keep physically active. So they began to see, oh, wow, okay, physical activity is an important part of this. And we're not talking, again, working out in the gym, which is a good thing, but we're talking about, planting and gardening and hoeing, that kind of thing, so that there's the basics of physical activity that you do in the world to kind of survive, walking where you're going, because you're not having cars, that kind of thing. So physical activity, important. Now today, I think there's pretty good research. It shows that people who are physically active tend to live longer. Okay, so that's an important thing. Another factor is meditation. And the research shows that people who have been meditating for at least 5 years have a physiology that's 15 years younger compared to other people their age. So that obviously they live longer as a result of that. So we know that meditation makes a difference. It also increases brain size and it prevents the brain shrinking, which happens. Okay, now diet is also very important. But it's just one among. It's not the main thing. So I don't want to, give you a false impression. But the research tends to show that people who do not eat meat, fish, chicken, and dairy tend to live longer. And the difference for men is about 7 years. And for women, it's 4 years longer. So we see that there is really a distinction here in terms of the long-term research of people literally with these diets. So I'm going to say a vegan diet, which is no meat, fish, chicken, or dairy, is a diet that they've done research on that shows that they live longer. Then you can add live food, which we believe adds even more longevity. But there isn't a lot of research on that. The research is more with the vegan or vegetarian diets. So we have diet, we have exercise, we have relationship or intimacy. Now, intimacy is more than sexual content, okay? It really has to do with touch. It has to do with a hormone called oxytocin. What's oxytocin? It's a hormone that's actually released when women breastfeed, but it gets stimulated in the child, and everyone has a certain amount of oxytocin, which is activated by human touch. Obviously, human sexuality, obviously, where people are hugging and embracing. So there are a variety of ways that we are able to get the oxytocin going. And that also stimulates other positive hormonal release. But the most important piece is the oxytocin. Now, again, this is something that's really activated in breastfeeding, and particularly for women, obviously. But what I'm saying is, in terms of human adult relationship, there's still an oxytocin flow that seems to be connected with touch and emotion. And so positive emotion, positive relationship. But touch is part of it. So I don't want to not emphasize that. It's touch, it's relationship, it's flow, it's holding. And that seems to be a very important factor in the longevity paradigm. Now, social structure is also important. Is that when people are living in social groups, in communities where people are really interacting, not just families now, but family plays an important role. So they say men particularly have more need for this, and they live longer, particularly when they're in relationship. But also the research shows that when people are in small communities and really caring about each other, like you have in some island situations, that also has been associated with longevity. Now, we've given you some principles. So we have social relationship. Okay, that's really, really important. Obviously, couple relationship, which is a little bit different than social. Both are very important and score high on adding years to your life. But again, I don't want to minimize the importance of social interaction as different than a couple interaction. They're both extremely important. A good diet, a certain amount of touching, hugging, closeness physically is another thing that's very important. Life purpose. They find that people that have a strong life purpose feel they're in harmony with the one. You know, when I mean life purpose, I'm not just talking about being a professional, having a, you know, inventing, you know, something. I'm talking about a life purpose that's focused on God. You know, people live longer. A life purpose that has God and kind of leading a meaningful and purposeful life in the bigger picture is what I'm talking about. When people have that life purpose, the research shows they live longer. Okay? So we have relationship, we have life purpose, we have, you know, individual focus on accomplishment, and that's important. The research shows that high-powered executives who are really working hard, you think, oh, they're going to stress out and have a heart attack. They actually do live longer as well. Interesting research. Living more in nature is part of that too, because you're having the healing effects of nature. So these are key things, okay? Love, life purpose, relationship, your own life purpose in communion with the divine, family network, social network. These all seem to be related. And I'm going to just say a vegetarian diet. I think it's broader that way. The research isn't just on vegans. Seem to be very much linked to a healthy longevity. So we're not just talking about longevity, we're talking about a healthy longevity. So now you see a bigger pattern as a total kind of lifestyle. You're getting enough hydration, you're getting enough food, you're getting enough exercise, you have relationship, you have social relationship, you have life purpose. They all seem to be key factors in a bigger picture. So what I've just shared with you is kind of result of a variety of long-term, I'm going to say longitudinal research in different societies that seem to make it clear that these factors I've mentioned, they repeat themselves, are really the key factors. So I bless everyone that we can find a life purpose, can eat at least a vegetarian diet that supports it, have a meaningful relationship, meaningful social connections, and a sense of love and also connection with nature. And I'm going to just mention about work. I mean, in these societies where there's pretty clear longevity, people continued to work. They didn't necessarily retire. And that was also part of it. So the fundamentals are there. And they're kind of exciting that it's that simple. So I bless everyone that we're able to return to these fundamentals of how to live as full human beings. And not only live, but live in a way that's very, very good for us. Now, I'm just going to mention part of that is we have a world peace meditation every Sunday, 11:30 Eastern Standard Time, 6:30 p.m. in Israel. And we do that every Sunday. We have a variety of world peace meditations on each equinox and solstice. We're encouraging people to kind of be uplifting to the world. And so you see the calendar of where people can do the meditating. We looked at, you say Cameroon. Well, actually, I did a meditation in Cameroon and also in Nigeria. So people are open to it. Okay, where we're doing meditating for world peace. So all that is part of that social connection as well. I'm going to mention also that this is the year of the fire horse. And the fire horse is the breakthrough consciousness that can take us to the heavens, the horse that rises to the heavens. And it's about moving into a new paradigm, a new way of upping our way of life, and doing something different. So we do offer a spiritual fast. It's coming up May 26th. Spiritual fasting retreat in the Dominican Republic. And as it says, go to drcousensspiritualfast.com. That's really a good thing. I also do what's known as whole person healings, where people want to take their healing to the next level. Then we have a session. Well, it's a continual thing because your health doesn't just one time. It's a continual evolution over time. But I do work with people who want to evolve in their health over time and reach kind of higher levels of function, which is definitely good. So that's info@treeoflife.nu to make a whole person healing appointment. And I work with people in a way to keep it going. As it's one thing to do one healing, okay, that's good, but it's not a healing. We set the groundwork for a blossoming of optimal health. So you're invited to go to info@treeoflife.nu and make an appointment. So that's the overview. The whole thing takes some work, takes some time, and it's evolving. And with age, you can get more healthy. That's a new concept for a lot of people. With age, you can get more healthy. And I see it happen all the time for people. So I'm very optimistic about what we can really do. So peace be with you. And I want to thank Doug behind the scenes for helping this happen.